on January 21st, Friday, January 21st, on my birthday, and I'm really excited about today. Earlier, we had Wally Bell, who happens to have a birthday coming up tomorrow. And on Monday, we have a special guest that has a birthday coming up on Monday, Reverend Willie Bodrick from 12 Baptist, and he'll be in the studio in a few minutes, and we're going to be talking about some of the things they're doing around 12 Baptist Church. We're really excited about him and the work that's being done in Roxbury. 617-282-0685. Call in and enjoy yourselves on this beautiful birthday celebration. We're really excited. You can... Yep, and we have the Rev in the house, and I know it's cold outside, and boy, this is the kind of weather that make you like woo, But you can put your headphones on, and it's good to see you, brother. Welcome to Boston Black News once again.
God bless you, Brother Ron.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Same to you, man. I see that. I was just telling our viewers and our listeners here that my cousin is a day younger than me. He's a national correspondent out of Columbus, Ohio. He was on the air earlier.
Beautiful.
And I said, my uncle and my father must have been hanging out or something, because we're only like 24 hours apart. We hadn't really seen each other face to face since we've been kids. And so, and when you came in and you said your birthday's on Monday.
On Monday.
So we blessed, man.
We're beautifully blessed.
Yeah, we're blessed.
Us another year.
Yeah,
so I'm
man.
excited. So happy birthday to you. I know you're going to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm enjoying every moment in the cold.
It's cold.
So we got some catfish, grits. Make sure you get a plate before you leave.
I'll make sure.
Pastor Wall, we got you a plate, and Pastor K, we got you a plate. We're going to try to get it over there. Somehow we're going to make that happen to your house. We want to thank you for all your support on our birthdays. We're going to just bless the man and woman of God. But yeah, man, it's so good to see you, man.
Good to see you as well.
Yeah.
Good to see you as well.
It's good to see you in person and not just on TV. Because you know what, I have to say this, and every time I see you, I never forget when I was working with Camfield Estates, and I just picked up the phone and I said, man, I need some help as far as the residents over there. And it was during the time they were cutting off, I believe, EBT, government assistance or something like that.
We were going through that furlough season, and remember we had to shut down, and many families were affected by that. Those people that are working each and every day in our government to make things go, and they were put in a very precarious situation, which had a ripple effect across our community. And I remember when you gave me that call, and I'm thankful that you did, because it was a beautiful time for us to share in ministry and in partnership, and to make sure those people were fed.
Right. Do we have a call on the air already? Okay.
Happy birthday to you.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy
birthday to you.
Uh-huh.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Rhonda.
Amen.
Hey, all right now. All right. Somebody in the choir. Who's this calling from? Where you calling from? Who's this?
I'm calling from Rosendale.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is my big sister. How you doing, sis? Mr. Flint Bay.
I'm good.
How you doing, Mr.
How are
Price?
you?
God bless you.
Yeah. How you doing, Priscilla?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday and hope you have many, many more.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. We have some catfish and everything down here, and grits and all that stuff. So if you,
my goodness, I can't have grits. My doctor told me I can't eat grits no more.
Okay, well, we got catfish. We have side orders of eggs and cheese and all that stuff.
Oh Lord, don't tell me that.
We got Pastor Hobbs here, Renee, and Corey, Zakia, and we just chilling. And we got Pastor Bodrick here, and his birthday is Monday.
Amen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Having the party.
Yeah, we having a good time.
Amen.
Good time.
Okay.
Thank you for calling in.
Yes. I hope you have a blessed day.
I will definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
So, Pastor, tell us a little bit about the work you're doing, because I've seen that you're doing something around King. And by the way, I have to give you these books.
Thank you.
In Love We Still Trust, Lessons We Learned from Martin Luther King Jr. and Sr., Dr. Virgil Wood,
Amen.
who brought King here during the 60s around the segregation rates, and there's the other book, one of his colleagues. I have to actually get you another copy because there's about 3 copies I have. You know what? Let me just tell you what happened, because I didn't know he was coming today. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm on the air, right? I'm supposed to get you Reverend Jeffrey Brown, Reverend Liz Walker, Amari Jeffries, and then when you called me, I said, oh my goodness, I have Reverend Jeffrey Brown's book right there, but I got to get yours. I got yours at the house. I'm not going to get his brother like 8 books to take.
It's perfect.
Okay.
I'll get him on Monday.
Okay.
Make it a birthday gift.
Yeah, I was like this. It was cold, right? I looked there, I said, oh, I didn't bring Jeffrey Brown's book. Oh, wait a second. Anyway,
it's okay.
So I'll make sure I'll handle that. So tell about the work that's going on.
Yeah, so all the work has to be contextually framed. We're in a difficult time. This is now since 2020. We've been seeing, COVID ravage our community. We've seen disproportionate impacts, particularly on black communities and brown communities. But our people have been hurting. I live in the heart of Roxbury, pastor in Roxbury. I'm blessed to pastor historic 12 Baptist Church. And our goal really has to been focused on how do we make sure not only are we spiritually bringing about the edification of our community, our church, but also how are we supporting those who are in our greater community.
Right.
Getting outside of the 4 walls of the church and ensuring that we are living the gospel. Right. Jesus said, when I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was thirsty, did you give me drink? And if I was incarcerated, did you come visit me? What were you doing for those brothers and sisters who were incarcerated? And so our goal has not only been about the growth spiritually,
right,
but it's been about making sure that we're meeting the needs of the people. And that's why throughout this pandemic, actually, we had a meeting last night. Our food pantry alone has fed over 15,000 families.
Wow.
2021.
Wow.
God has blessed us because, each Tuesday we've been having food pantry, and God has continued to allow for us to provide in many ways. Throughout, over Thanksgiving break, the Lord called me and said, Willie, you need to feed 500 families and put this out to the church, put this out to the community, and let people know. We were able to feed 500 families, 500 turkeys. We thank God for all the resources that poured in, not only from our church family, but for people all across the country who say, you know what, we should not be living in a time where people are hungry in this season. We've been blessed to be able to give over $375,000 away throughout this pandemic. We just gave $120,000 away to various organizations, and we love our partnering communities, or Warren Gardens and Orchard Gardens.
Yeah.
And for the past 2 years, we've been able to bless them with financial blessings to help people in our communities. We don't do it for any bragging rights. We do it because that's what the gospel calls us to fill those gaps and those needs. And as we rebuild in this difficult time, to continue to make sure that we're doing that sustaining work. When you think about King's legacy, as you are alluding to, we're talking about someone who really said, I was reading something the other day. He said, when I die, I don't want you to talk about my degrees.
Right.
I don't want you to talk about the great speeches and the oratory. I just want you to talk about my service.
Yeah.
My service.
Service.
That I fed someone, gave someone water, that I did something for someone else. And I think that's the framework of what we do, and we celebrate that legacy. Dr. King was at 12 Baptist.
Right.
His dad, who was affectionately known as Daddy King, was really close with Reverend William Hunter Hester, who was the pastor, and Sister Beulah Hester was his wife. And so when he sent his son up here, he wanted him to be with some folks who he, one, knew, and two, that would make sure they would take care of him and nurture him and protect him. And it was at 12 Baptist Church. At that time, we were having both morning service and evening services. Those days are gone now.
Right. but let me just say that, and this is really important for folks to see this, because so often, and it hurts my heart when folks talk about the church. It really does. And then, and some of it may be true, some of the things that happen. But when I see a brother like yourself and others that are doing the work, we need to highlight that, because the church historically has been the backbone. It's been everything for us as a people. So kudos to you. We have a caller on the air. Caller, you're live on Boston Black News. I guess you hung up, huh? Okay. So anyway, so I really want to really acknowledge that, because that's so important for me. It's so important for our community, and important for our children to see that. what happens so often is that I remember the time during when the faith-based money came. And I was caught in the middle as a preacher and as a community organizer, and human service agencies were like, the church is getting all the money, and then the human service agencies were fighting against the clergy, and it became a mess. We have a caller on the air, live on Boston Black News.
Happy birthday.
Okay. Okay. Y'all was saying to me. We're talking about.
No,
you gotta
accept.
Hey, I'm accept. Oh no, listen, bro.
I have to
Bring them on in. Yeah, please.
Oh, this Lisa.
It's Lisa.
This my sister. Okay. All right. Okay. You get a pass.
I didn't want to tell you I was going to do it, so it's definitely a surprise. But happy birthday, big bro.
Thank you so much, sis. You know, we got a preacher in here, right? Willie Bodrick.
Kudos to you.
God bless you. God bless you.
You know, Lisa, Wally is a day older than me.
I cannot believe that. I know.
Well,
as we get older, all of this plays out.
All this is coming out.
It does.
You know,
Hey, Wally.
Yeah, no, Wally's not on the line now.
He's not on.
It's past Willie. You know, my family prays every Sunday. We have prayer, like on Zoom.
Yeah.
That never happened before. I mean, like, it's like 10, 12 of us, different states and everything, Tito included. We got Tito in there, right? Yeah. And it's been wonderful. And we're like finding out stuff like, I mean, we used to call one of our uncles Uncle Clavin. His name is not Clavin, it's Cleaver. Remember that, Lisa?
But it should be noted that those calls have been going on for almost 2 years now.
That's a blessing. Yeah. All right, well, thanks for calling in. I'll call you later.
That's something for you too. I'm going to drop something off later.
That's a blessing. I'm receiving everything. God bless you. All right, bye-bye. You were saying something?
No, I want to just acknowledge, it's interesting how this pandemic has brought us closer in many ways. As much as it's pulled us apart. We must acknowledge that there are those who don't have that family.
That's right.
Don't have that connection, don't have that community. But one of the things I've been excited about at 12 Baptist is that we've been able to be the church everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, really being forced, like many churches, being able to really amp up our virtual engagement. You know, I received letters from England, from Barbados, you know, places, you know, some of these places, you know, folks hitting us up, you know, people are giving from as far as Oregon to the ministry. And a lot of it is just saying, you know, I'm thankful for the worship experience and how this has sustained us throughout this time. And one of the things that we were able to do, not just families, but our church, we pray every single day.
Amen. Every
single day. And I have to give much kudos to my predecessor, the Reverend Dr. Arthur T. Gerald.
Oh, yeah.
Who was a stalwart prayer and still is.
Right.
And so we you know, when I took over as senior pastor, I thought that was necessary. Through this moment of pandemic, through this time, but just as people of faith, that we commit ourselves to reach out to God, to help one another, to hear one another. We needed that in the season. So kudos to you all, you know, for praying. It's important.
It's important.
And you know, if those who want to join our prayer calls, we're praying every single day from 12:15 to 12:45.
Okay.
You can go to our website and find the information. We have an early morning prayer time at 6 a.m.
Amen.
And then on Fridays we have our hour of power, where we have our prayer service as a church corporately. And so every single day, you know, Sunday we in church.
That's right.
So every single day we are praying, because prayer is a strong foundation for our church community. And I give kudos to your family for doing that.
Thank you so much.
It's drawing you all together.
That's right. We have a call on the air live on Boston Black News.
Good morning and happy birthday.
All right, that sounds familiar. Sounds like a person that knows a lot about City Hall.
Well, and also 12th Baptist, President. Very proud of the work that you're doing. And just to complete the circle, I just want Reverend Bodrick to know that that January 24th is a very special day for my family as well. Back in 1970, a minister by the name of Virgil Wood officiated on the wedding of Mazetta Morissette and Charles Yancey.
Wow.
Man, this is a full circle here.
Look at God.
Let me tell you, I just gave a book
Congratulations coming forth.
That's something. That is something.
It's only going to be 52 years.
Only.
I'm married, but we're still working at it, and we owe a lot to 12th Baptist.
Amen.
That's right.
We owe a lot to Virgil Woods for his activism in the community. Of course, he conducted so many weddings, he probably doesn't remember ours, but we remember him.
That's
Wow.
right.
Beautiful.
And my mother used to meet at the chapel with Dr. King and Virgil Woods, hosted by Virgil Woods during the 60s,
Wow.
when so much turmoil was taking place within our community, and Dr. King came up to help us deal with the issue of housing, education, and jobs, and he spoke at my junior high school alma mater. At that time was the Patrick T. Campbell Junior High School.
Wow.
And after his assassination, my mother, who was president of the Home School Association up there, worked with so many others in our community to name that school Martin Luther King Junior High School at that time.
Wow.
But I just wanted to call in to tell Brother Bell that we keep him in our prayers.
Thank you so much.
Baptists in our prayers.
Thank you so much,
and
Counselor.
we have so many blessings, and a lot of them came right out of Roxbury.
That's right. Right out of Roxbury.
I like that.
Thank you, Counselor.
You should put that on the shirt.
I like that.
Right out of Roxbury.
Right out of Roxbury. Pastor, you want to respond?
Yes, first I want to say thank you, Counselor. Yes, congratulations, and to you and your wife. 52 years is a blessing from God, and me and my wife are going on 5.
Okay.
And so we got a long way to go. So
that's right. You said only 52.
but we thank
with
you.
At least one child.
I do have. We have a 2-year-old. He'll be 3 in July. So things are moving. But God has been great, and thank you because we can't talk about the activism in this city without talking about Charles Yancey.
That's right.
We can't talk about education, housing, and someone who's been a voice for our people without talking about Charles Yancey. And so, not only do you speak of the greats like Dr. King and Virgil Woods, but know that you are a great, Counselor Yancey. And we thank God for you and your wife and the legacy that you've led, because you've made a way for us to do what we're doing today.
Yeah, and we need you to come back on the air so we can learn on Boston Black News about how to access resources in City Hall. Because I know you understand that very well, and we're going to be dedicating an hour every Friday to teach people how to get the resources. We talk about money coming to Boston, coming to the city, the state, and federal, but people don't know how. We want to give the ABCDs on how to do so. So, Counselor, I will be calling you so we can get your wisdom. And my cousin always talks about you working on her first campaign, Rosa Jackson. So I just want, Rosa, Tito's mom. Yeah. So I just want to let you know, I've known you since I was a little kid, and Aku used to have us kicking them cans and taking back them cans. This is before it was 5 cents. Well, we worked. Believe me. It's in my blood and my DNA. Thanks for calling in, Counselor.
Well, thank you for all your service too, Ron Bell. And Reverend, thank you for those kind words. My wife and I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We're reaching out to you soon.
Happy birthday. Thank
you again. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So you're doing the work. I remember when I interviewed you for the first time at Milton Access TV and the series is coming out, Black Stories of Black Males. It's going to be coming out soon.
Excited.
And people kept saying, this is a young brother who's bad, right, from Atlanta. And I was like, what? Who is he? I keep hearing, and then finally when I met you, I was like, this brother is bad, right? And then I didn't realize the political arena that you've been able to make some major accomplishments, as well as the spiritual piece, and many of us don't have that skill set to be able to navigate both. How do you do that? I have some ways I've done it. How do you go about the political side, the spiritual side? You know what I mean?
Definitely. No, I think it's a great question. First, I have to start with my family.
Right.
My upbringing. My parents. My father is a pastor. He also was a career counselor for Atlanta Job Corps Center for years. My mother was an educator in the Atlanta public school system for over 30-something years. And my first understanding of faith and politics was really from them. And we don't think about politics. We usually think about it as like, you got to be this politician, you got to be in office, you got to be some political player. But my mother worked in some of the toughest schools in Atlanta public schools. She's a high school educator her whole career, and in administration her whole career. And kids would drop out. The social safety net that should have been there in our education system was not always there, and we know that across the country, right? No city is exempt from that.
Right.
However, when kids would drop out, my mother would make a call to my father, and before they left the school, they'd have an opportunity to enroll in Job Corps Center.
Wow.
And what it taught me was that systems have to speak to one another. Institutions have to speak to one another. And usually when they don't speak to one another, someone falls through the crack. And so those young people who may have fallen through the crack, and Atlanta's a tough city.
Right.
And it's a great city, but it also has it's a tough city. Those young people who were able to transition, get a GED, go ahead and get a career, wherever they ended up after that, I saw how things can work when systems speak to one another. And much of that was in the foundation of the faith.
Right.
Like our belief in God, that grounds me. And so my theological perspective doesn't shift in the spaces I go into. And one of the things my parents were very keen on is making sure that we were men of integrity. I have two other brothers who are both here in Boston as well, who've been very active in the city as well.
And y'all all look alike.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. People always say, I don't know which way. I'm glad.
That's very good.
We're brothers, yeah.
That's
and
right.
I love them both dearly, Winston and Weldon. But integrity was a big thing in our house. Being honest, and being truthful. That doesn't mean you're always going to agree with people,
right?
But also being loving. And so I bring all of that everywhere I go. I don't put my faith behind me when I walk into politics.
That's
it's
right.
who I am.
That's who you are.
It's who I am. Like, it's what I believe. It's who I am. And I'm able to go into these places because, a lot of times people frame politics as a place where it's dirty, nasty. But I think, you decide how you're going to be in those spaces.
Come on.
If you're integral, you're going to be integral in politics.
That's right.
If you're honest, you're going to be honest in politics.
Right.
If you care about people, you're going to care about people in politics. And so for me, the work of the church and the work that I've done in politics have always intersected, because it's one thing to preach people happy on Sunday, but not recognize what they're going into the world on Monday is problematic if you're not doing something about those. And so I think, I always say Jesus fed the people, but also blessed the people with a word, right? He never really just gave you word. He also actually healed people and was active in being a part of the liberative work that was necessary. And so for me, I bring that with me. I think God has blessed me with a certain particular skill sets to be able to articulate what I think and what I'm feeling and how things are going, and to be able to understand complex processes and actually talk to them in very simple terms. And I've been blessed with mentors. I've been blessed with people who poured into me.
That's
just
right.
Like most people, none of us are just ourselves. We're the sum of so many people, named and unnamed, who've poured into us, who believed in us, who've nurtured me, who've helped to shape who I've become. And so I think that's what I bring into these issues. And the issues of hunger is a faith issue.
That's right.
Right. The issues of education and opportunity, those are faith issues. The issues of healthcare, those are faith issues. Our environment, right? The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. These are faith issues.
That's right.
I don't have to run from the text to think about these issues, right? The issues of the humanity of all of the people in which we engage, those are faith issues. And I believe that that we should do what is necessary as we respect the boundary between church and state, but we also make sure that we're doing what's necessary in our communities and the activism that's necessary to make sure that we do what people need, right? We address the issues that are needed to be addressed, and I want to be a part of that work, and that's how I've navigated it. And I meet people for who they are,
right?
Like you know a lot of big time people, right? With big names, big titles, right? But they're people.
They're people.
They're people, and whenever we put people on a pedestal where we can't actually talk to them, we sort of hamstring ourselves from actually moving the ball forward. And so I treat people as people, and that means I don't disrespect anybody. I love them the same, but I don't allow titles to force me to not speak truth to power, right? I don't allow those things to happen. I think that has bared out to allow me to do some things in the city, hopefully that have blessed others and hopefully continue to bless others.
Well, you have blessed me because I'm sitting here watching you, and I remember when you was working on Senator Markey's campaign, and I was like, man, I'm voting for Willie. And that's so important because when you have surrogates that are just as good, that makes things better. Man, I just really want to thank you, man.
No, thank you.
And it's good to celebrate my birthday on your birthday weekend as well. On Dr. King's week, my cousin's birthday. It's going to be really good. Continue to do the work.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your work, man. I'm proud when I see brothers doing it out here. So often, black men in particular don't get the shine that they deserve. You deserve all the shine, man. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
So there you have it, Reverend Willie Bodrick from the 12th Baptist Church. And here on my birthday, it's such a blessing to be around good brothers and good seed, good soil. It's just a blessing. There's a scripture that says that the ultimate measure of there's a quote that Dr. King said that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where they stand in times of challenge and conflict. Continue to take a stand. Let's stand up for voting rights, voting access, and equity. God bless you. I'll be right back.
Give the narrative. It is imperative that the truth about us we give. No more trying to get ratings with the hating. No more fake news. Now we can choose Boston Black News.
read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, tune in to see it. Bad news is coming to you.
From our perspective, we must give the narrative. It is imperative that the truth about us we give. No more trying to get ratings with the hating. No more fake news. Now we can choose Boston Black News.
Boston Black News. Boston Black News. Boston Black News. Boston Black News. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Tune in to see how bad news is coming to you. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, tune in to see how bad news is coming to you. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, tune in to see how bad news is coming to you. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, tune in to see how Boston Black News. Boston Black News. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, tune in to see how bad news is coming to you. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, tune in to see how bad news is coming to you. When the media tells a story about us, it's a story we cannot trust. Told always from a European point of view. The time to tell our story is overdue. Oh, yeah. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, tune in to see how bad news is coming to you. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, tune in to see how bad news is coming to you. The media stories are negative. Rarely is it positive. Good news about us don't sell. That's why a story we must tell. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Tune in to see how bad news is coming to you. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, tune in to see how bad news is coming to you. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, tune in to see how bad news is coming to you. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, tune in to see how bad news is coming to you.
From our perspective, we must give the narrative. It is imperative that the truth about us we give. No more trying to get ratings with the hating. No more fake news.
Well. Happy birthday to me right here on Boston Black News. We are excited about today in this cold weather, but we're really excited that we have City Council at Large Julie Mejia in the studio with me to wish me a happy birthday.
That's right. I would not miss out the opportunity to come over here and say happy birthday to you.
You sound like
Y'all You know me, I gotta be heard. So
Okay,
we gotta
bring it
fix the
up.
situation.
Okay.
No, I'm just like, I don't even know what to do with myself because I'm in your presence. So, you know, you always make me nervous.
Don't get nervous on the service.
Yes.
Okay. So it's so cold. It's a great day to be 39 years old. Look at it. If I said 39, then you start moving microphones. And,
Yeah, because we know that's not true. We're 27, right?
39.
Okay.
39 in my adult life. And so that's why I'm on the air. I'm 39. So I'm excited. I feel good. I don't look older than 39.
That's my man right there.
She's something else. Listen, okay, so we're really excited about what's going on. Wally Bell from our national correspondent was out of Ohio this morning. It was his birthday. Me and my cousin and I are one day apart. All right, his birthday's tomorrow. Reverend Willie Bodrick, 12th Baptist, was here just past. His birthday is Monday. When is your birthday?
My birthday is January 1st.
Oh, are you?
I'm a New Year's baby.
So I knew you had a birthday this month. No wonder you have something coming up on January 28th.
No, January 27th.
7th, okay. My sister's birthday is January 28th.
Yeah, it's my virtual birthday party.
Okay.
But it's really a fundraiser because, you know, I don't stop fundraising because, you know, I got a lot of work to do. And so it's a virtual fundraiser. So I'm asking everybody to give some coins. Because I definitely need to keep this Mejia movement going. Okay, we got to keep the movement going.
And we also, and I understand fundraising too. I'm asking people in lieu of gifts to give to Dunk the Vote, become a member of Dunk the Vote because we need an organization. Because we can't just keep starting all over.
You are an organization. Just you alone. You are not even an organization. You are a movement. You are everything to everyone at all times.
Wow.
It's your birthday. I'm giving you lots of love, Ron.
Thank you so much. That's really nice of you to say that. You know, there were some nice calls that came in right past all. Remember they called in, they were like saying some really nice things. I wish this is like this all the time.
Ron, you got to get your roses. You know how hard you work for this community?
Yeah.
You've been at this for so long when it comes to voting rights, when it comes to civic engagement. You have been on the forefront of so many campaigns.
Yeah.
And you're like the Black Panther. Right?
Ooh, the real one.
The real one. Yeah, exactly, the real one.
Yeah, I ain't no Marvel character. You got to move closer.
Oh, I got to move closer to the mic. Yeah, you're not like a bootleg version.
No, I'm not.
You are Black Panther.
I am the Black Panther.
That's right.
That's
and
right.
we have seen you in action.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
And we've seen you in action too. So the Mejia Movement January 27th virtual fundraiser.
That's right, everybody. Get that right. Fundraiser. Even if you give me $5 for my birthday, I would really appreciate it.
I know, and I appreciate your $59 to become a member of Dunk the Vote. You can go to DTV 2020 in our cash app, or you can go to our website, dunkthevoteforever.org, and make your contribution so we can deal with this issue of voting rights.
Voting rights. Listen, and everybody sleeps.
Man.
And you know what? I'm happy to see Pastor Hobbs in the house too, because when it comes to voting rights for our incarcerated loved ones, he has been on the forefront.
That's right.
Advocating. So when we think about voting rights, you know, it's all means all. That means all of us making sure that we have the right to vote. So yes, I'm here for all of it.
Pastor Hobbs, you've been quiet over there.
I know.
And you know, he got his little beeper, his little.
You got a beeper?
Well, there's little. It looks like a parrot with that mask.
Oh, it does look like a little parrot.
It look like, but he got we call him the golden voice.
Ooh, the golden voice.
Well, listen when he talks. Just say something to us about voting rights. Say something, man. I haven't heard the golden voice today.
Put me on the spot, Ron.
Okay, there we go. You need to say happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, man.
So let's talk a little bit about what's going on. We got the Black Men's Commission. It's about to start off. Hello, thanks to you.
And you.
And me, but more importantly, Thaddeus Miles, Conan Harris,
Tito Jackson,
Richard Claytor, all the black men who have stood up and pushed this. We are finally seeing it come to fruition.
Yes.
And I'm so excited because really, if we're really serious about investing, we have to put our money where our mouth is, literally. So we need to make sure that we go after those dollars,
right, so
that we can build the infrastructure for the work to come up.
Yeah, and you know, I think about that. You know, folks don't realize the work. When Councilor Jackson 7 years ago filed this legislation, overwhelmingly passed by the city council at the time and vetoed by then Mayor Walsh, that was like a stab in the heart. I mean, it was painful. And, you know, we as people, and particularly Black and Latinos, we have been through some major challenges in our lives, and we can fight, and we continue to fight. We're resilient, but we do have feelings. And you know what I mean? And sometimes you wonder about our health condition in reference, like, for instance, I've had 2 heart surgeries and other ailments, and other folks have had these different ailments. And that comes from stress and trauma.
And mental health.
And mental health.
We don't take care enough about our mental health, and especially our black men.
Yes.
We have this expectation that we're just going to keep on keeping on, and that keep on wears on you. And it's really important for us to center a lot of these conversations around our mental health and wellness. And I know that Bishop Dickerson has been really big on issues of mental health, and so I'm really excited that he's a part of the work as well. And I think that we have an opportunity.
That's right. And it's interesting you mentioned that. I was looking on social media the other day, some of the young guys that grew up under my tutelage in Mission Hill, Joey Bennett, who's the nephew of Willie Bennett from the Stewart case back when it happened. He has a group, Yard Time, that they meet on Tuesdays at the Tobin.
I supported some of their programming.
Okay.
You know me.
I know you. I'm going to give you an opportunity to say it.
I'm everywhere. I don't miss a beat. But yeah, I'm familiar with their work.
Yeah, and them are a lot of the guys that grew up under my tutelage. And one of the things, and I make mention of this because of the Black Male Commission, is so many different components. We've been traumatized, brutalized, bamboozled, you name it, right? And we keep ticking. But you're right. The mental health piece, the economic piece,
that's right,
the Corey reform that needs to be reformed.
All of those things are interconnected.
And
one thing too that our office filed, and that people really don't talk much about, but I think it is also an important piece, especially on the reentry piece of it, is that we've established a literacy task force, because when we look at the school to prison pipeline, a lot of our young boys are struggling to read and write, and then they end up in DYS.
That's right.
And then they end up going from DYS into the criminal justice, the criminal system. And all of those things are interconnected. And then our loved ones come back and they're struggling to read and write. They can't fill out a job application. So we are not addressing literacy as a fundamental concern around helping our black men and our incarcerated loved ones be set up for success. So literacy is something that our office is going to be tackling, and I think those things are interconnected, because you can't fill out a job application if you can't read and write.
Well, it's interesting you mention this, because a friend of mine in Mission Hill who owns 6 or 7 properties, right? And he always tells me, Ron, you're doing a great job getting out the vote. I mean, he watched me as a kid, registering people to vote. And one day I asked him, I said, are you registered to vote? And he said, no. I said, why? And then I said, here, man, I can't be around you if you're not going to register to vote and vote. And I said, here, man, just fill out the form and I can take it in. Just fill it out. Do you know this man, owning 6 properties, could not read?
Yeah, and that's real.
That's real,
and
right?
So that's why we're going to tackle literacy as an
that's
issue.
Important.
And I see it as a way to dismantle, a lot of the issues around violence, especially when our kids are struggling to read and write. They show up in schools in ways that they end up at DYS. There are a lot of adults who are struggling to read and write.
That's right.
And I think that, whatever little things we can do can make a big difference. And I think people feel like, oh, what's literacy got to do with the issues that we're experiencing? But let me just tell you, that gets at the root. And that's what we're about, is really getting at the root causes of a lot of the things that we're experiencing. And I believe that the Literacy Task Force and having some of the folks who are doing work around reentry in that space is going to be helpful. And then another piece of the Men's Commission that I'm really excited about is the work that Tony is always talking about, is our incarcerated loved ones that are coming back.
Tony Brewer, correct.
Yeah, and then when they do come back, right, a lot of the work that is provided to them are not work, it's not jobs that are going to get them, meaningful ways to sustain their lives. And so really looking at the hiring practices, the promotions that happen or don't happen.
That's right.
The Boston Public Works, where you end up and working, I think all of those things are things that we need to tackle. And I'm really excited to be a partner with you all.
Yes.
For me, it's really about you all leading, and all I do is create a platform for that work to happen, and to push to make sure that you guys get those dollars.
Yeah.
And that's my job.
Right.
Your job is to tell me what you need, and my job is to go fight for it.
That's right. And you've done a great job. I have to say that. And I'm not just saying it because you're on the air. You've actually delivered. for us, and I really appreciate that. I do want to say this piece, because this is something that Pastor Wall and I had talked about in reference to the spiritual component, because sometimes we lose that. And I had talked, when I worked with Governor Patrick, one of the things I did was we would meet with clergy would meet once a month with certain elected officials and pray with them, right? And I know you had talked about doing some work with the church, right?
And more often, yes.
And more often. So that's something I want to talk to you more about, because you can give until your well runs dry.
That's right.
I mean, even like when you said black men go, and then mental health issues, but you can go, and your whole spirit is gone.
That's right.
And I mean, I had to catch myself. You know, you can lose it. I mean, you know, and it's important that you have a covering. So I talked to Pastor Wall, Bishop Dickinson, and some others, and we want to get with you in particularly, because you need a covering. Because folks don't realize the stuff that happens in these spaces of government. It's not always too.
No, it's not easy. And you know what? I'm an empath.
Right.
I feel people's pain deeply.
Yeah.
Right? You can't call me and ask me for something without me going to whatever extent to make it happen.
Right.
And to solve problems. And then I also carry people's pain.
Yeah.
And so I think that sometimes when you are a public servant and you're there to serve, that it takes an extra toll on you, because everything is important to me. And sometimes I need to get poured into, because I spend so much of my time and energy pouring into others. That you're absolutely right. And then the other piece of this, you know, in terms of the clergy, is that where people come to get replenished is in the church.
Right.
And we need to create more opportunities for community to be in community with each other.
That's
and
right.
Talking to us as electeds and letting us know what we need to do. So there needs to be more engagement in the church with our electeds, so that we can collectively heal.
Yeah.
And I'm here for all of it. You know, I think that we should probably in the spring host a breakfast, a convening, where we bring members of our church into the space, and have a gathering around mental health.
Right.
Because I have seen in some of the churches that I've been to, you know, I always had an issue about going to churches because I never wanted to be transactional. And that's why I picked a few churches to be in community with. And I would go into these churches and I would see how people would come into these spaces and pour so much of their heart and soul.
That's right.
And I would cry.
Yeah.
And I would leave there full.
Yeah.
And there's something magical and spiritual that happens in these spaces that we need more of. And I think that's how we're going to address these issues. It just can't be government alone. We have to work in partnership with our churches.
Reverend Bodrick spoke so eloquently about faith in politics. It was so good. We got to look at the broadcast.
I'm sure, because he been waxing poetics.
Yeah, no, he broke it down in reference, because sometimes folks can be in the church so heavenly minded, no earthly good, and some in politics say keep the church out of politics. You know, it's interconnected. And and when you're disconnected, that's when you have disaster.
That's right.
So I want to applaud you for the work you're doing. Keep on doing you with your Black Panther suit on. You know,
I came here for, you know, this is all about the outfit. And I got Julia hoops, yo. Yes, I'm an around the way girl all day, every day. I claim it. I am not shy about it, but you know, it was your birthday, Ron.
Thank you so much.
And whenever you call, you know, I always pick up your call.
Oh yeah, you sure do. She'll be like this. I'm on a Zoom. I'll call you right back.
Yeah, no, like seriously.
I appreciate that.
I so much appreciate you.
Yeah.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
I am so grateful that I get to do this work in partnership with you.
Thank you.
Because this grassroots movement,
right,
is about faith.
That's right.
You know, if we can believe that we can change things, then we'll get up and take 5 minutes to go out and vote.
That's right.
If we believe that things can change, we'll fight for voting rights. And I think that faith and how you do it with so much love and passion for your people is what excites people. And I just want to thank you.
Thank you
for all that you do. And you know that whatever you need, I always raise my hand. I'm here for all of it. And happy birthday and thank you.
Thank you so much. Julie Mejia, City Council at Large for the whole city of Boston and beyond. So we want to continue to keep her in our prayers and our thoughts and support the work that she's doing as we help each other. As Frederick Douglass once said, we are one, our cause is one. We must help each other if we are to succeed. God bless you. We'll be right back.
Yes.